Welcome back, YouTube family. This video is going to be a little bit different. To give a little overview, I did a video like this about a year ago when I was ending my freshman year at Auburn. The year was bad. Everything was pretty much bad. I had a horrible first year. Besides the fact that my best friend Ren was living with me, I remember gaslighting myself into being like, nobody else is going through this, and that was really discouraging. And I'm a big YouTube person, and so I would go on YouTube and like try to find videos of people kind of talking about it, and nobody was talking about it that I could find. And so I said, you want to know what? Let me get on YouTube. I have a channel, and let me post for the random chance that somebody who was in my position came across my video and could relate. And to my surprise, that video is one of my most watched videos I've ever posted on my channel. I've had girls DM me, reach out to me, comment on my YouTube video that they're either coming into Auburn and the video really helped them, or they experienced the same thing. I've seen all over the scale. So that really encouraged me to think to myself, okay, recapping freshman year, I'm gonna get back on YouTube, recap my sophomore year for you guys, because whoa, a lot happened this year. And try to give some tips and pointers rather than like, here's why my year sucked and here's how to not make yours suck. I'm at the point where I've kind of gotten the groove of college, and I'm passionate about my career that I'm going into, and I have a friend group. I feel like this year was my freshman year of college, to be honest with you, and I'm going into sophomore. I kind of found my place, and I kind of just want to share with you guys how my year went and how to prep for my next upcoming years. Okay, so if you guys did see that last video kind of talking about I dropped a sorority, I didn't have any friends. Right after that video was made, I ended up meeting Eliza, who is pictured here. She's my homegirl, okay? Met for the first time in May of 2024 through a friend of a friend, and then we went away for summer. She went to summer camp. I was home. You guys saw what I was up to. I literally posted every week, and I was like honestly scared she was never gonna reach out to me again because college is awkward, making new friends, and I was like, crap, she was really cool. Fast forward, okay? Fall comes around. We were supposed to do a football internship with social media. It fell through, and I was like, wow, she's really not gonna text me now, thinking negatively, of course. And she ended up texting, hey, what are you up to? Let's grab some coffee or something. And I was like, okay, score. So I was like, it feels like you're going on a date with somebody when you're trying to make new friends that you didn't know. So I was kind of like nervous. Okay, we went out to coffee, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, just say it. Just say what's on your mind. And so I looked at her, I was like, hey, honestly, I'm so bad with making plans with new people. If you ever just want to be spontaneous and be like, come over and rot with me for 30 minutes, boom, I'm there. But if you're like, let's hang out next Thursday, I'm like, I'm gonna be thinking about it the whole week, and then it's gonna freak me out and I'm not gonna want to end up doing it. And so she's like, oh my gosh, I'm the same way. Boom, the rest is history. We've joined a church class together. We ended up riding together. I met Isabel, who you guys just saw in a few vlogs ago. She's one of Eliza's roommates from this past year. And then slowly I started getting more comfortable around them. We would have Dancing with the Stars nights, Friendsgiving. By Christmas, we were all just the closest group. I was so ready to leave until I met them. Crazy story. But my roommate situation for this past year was actually horrible. I went in random as a single spot in a 5-bedroom. The girls kind of knew each other before. It was just like very passive aggressive living arrangement. There was like 5 cats by the end of the year. I'm allergic to cats. They all had boyfriends. Piece it together. Walls are thin. There was just a plethora of issues, and so the loving friend group that I am blessed with, like, girl, move in, haha. And I was like, haha, don't tempt me because I will. And they're like, haha, do it. And I was like, okay. So after Christmas break, as you saw if you've been seeing my videos since January, I literally lived out of a suitcase in their closet. Like, I would go home probably once a week in the beginning, and if you watch the first video back from Christmas break that I posted, I was like, I'm gonna bring a bag just in case I go to Eliza's and stay the night, because it usually ends up being that. I just packed an overnight bag at Eliza's, but she didn't invite me to stay the night. Sometimes it turns into that though. I want to be prepared and at least just keep this in my car for the future case in which it comes up. I did not spend a single night in my apartment the entire spring semester of this past year. Just put that into perspective. I lived with Eliza and her roomies. They're literally my best friends for life. Love them all so dearly. Miss them a lot. We're all like doing a bunch of different stuff over the summer, so we can't really see each other. Yeah, friend situation really was looking up, and I want that to be encouraging to you guys, because if you're in any sort of similar spot in life, just know that you don't need to make friends the first day of your freshman year. And oftentimes it's the friendships that take a little bit longer to develop that are really the ones that end up staying in your life. And another side note, when I was going through that last year, I mentioned this in my other video too, I posted on Instagram. I just tried to be as vulnerable as I possibly could in case anyone else could resonate. I'll put the caption here if you want to pause it and read it. I was like, my life sucks. I dropped my sorority, I have no friends, I'm super lonely, I know God has a plan for me. Boom, Miss Emma lit up. She was like, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. This is probably end of first semester freshman year, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's so cool. We hung out a little bit. We're in like completely different worlds in Auburn, which is really, really sad. So our circles never really cross, but her and I are like, I swear we're the same person. She lives in Florida, she's super cool, love her, super strong Christian, amazing girl. And we're actually gonna be roommates this upcoming year. Just her and I are gonna be living in a place together, so that will be amazing. I'll do a whole move-in vlog, but that just goes to show you, Emma and I literally met through Instagram after she DM'd me after a post I made about how horrible my experience was. So I want that to be encouraging for you guys, that you should not be afraid to put it out there that you're not doing okay, because chances that other people aren't doing okay too, but they're not gonna be as courageous as you to be upfront and say something about it. So that's your little tidbit to go out of your comfort zone a little bit. It's okay to not be okay, especially in college when you're still figuring life out. Okay, that's it in the world of friendships and social aspects. I would just, at the end of the day, recommend getting plugged into your church, because all of these girls I met do go to the same church as me and are in the same church circles, and that should be where you're plugging your community in if that is something that's like a core value of yours. Especially at Auburn, there are so many amazing choices if that's where you do end up. So that being said, now I really want to talk to you guys about my school and education and where I'm at, because so many people ask me, and in my vlogs through the past year I've kind of been like, oh, I'm at work, or oh, I'm volunteering, or I'm shadowing, or I'm doing this and this and this, and people are kind of like, what, why are you doing that? Or I'm not being specific enough and you guys are like, what the heck is she talking about? I literally have no idea what she's doing. So I thought it'd be really cool to get on here and kind of give some advice for people who are on the same path major wise as me, or those people who might just be curious as to see like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why did I choose it? How did I choose it? How am I planning, etc. If this is your first time watching me, I am a pre-PA major on the biology track, specifically organismal biology. It's just a really fancy way to be like life science. The pre-PA majors that Auburn offers are kind of limited. Off the top of my head, I know they have genetics, biochemistry, forensics, microbio, and I believe one or two more. Organismal was the easiest, okay? Okay. But just between you and me, that's why I'm in this one, and even that, it's still difficult, okay? So don't let me say that and you be like, oh my gosh, it's easy. No, okay? Your girl was drowning last year, don't get me wrong. So I want to take you through why I chose my major and kind of how I've planned since then. I'm very much a type A person where if I'm in school, I'm gonna be like completely organized by the first day. And honestly, being in the medical field, I think that that is so important, because we have a whole nother post-grad application process that we have to go through, and so it just helps to stay organized starting in the very beginning. Advice number one, make a spreadsheet. Open Excel, open Google Sheets, make a spreadsheet depending on the major you want to do. This is specifically for classes that are required to get your diploma at the end of your 4 years. On Auburn's website, you can look up your major or whatever, you click the link, and it'll give you a list of these are the required courses you need to take, the required credits for you to get a diploma at the end of your 4 years. And what I did was I went on Excel and I did, okay, these are all of the science classes I'm going to need to take at Auburn to graduate. Whether it recommended freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, I just put them in a science section, and then below it I put English, and then I put history, and then I put electives, anything like that. Put them in their own little boxes, and then you put the class code. I'll show you guys an example of what I'm talking about right next to me. You're gonna put the class code, you're gonna put how many credits, the class name, and then what you're gonna do after is, this is just extra, I did a main color for each year and then 2 different shades of that color for spring and fall semesters, so that I would know, okay, here's my ideal plan for when I would like to take these. Of course, classes fill up and you can't really fix that sometimes, but it's always good to have a plan to see how you want to space things out so that you're not too jam-packed in certain semesters. This helps. I swear you need to do this before fall of freshman year. And if you're seeing this as a sophomore or junior or whatever, start planning now. It's literally not too late. I 10 out of 10 recommend this. And this is gonna kind of be a bridge into my next topic based on the education, is that yes, grades matter so much, but it is 50%, arguably in my opinion, okay? I would say grades matter only half, if not less than, compared to all of the other experience and personality, characteristics, and individuality that you're gonna put in your application. I honestly think grades are not the end of the world, and if you struggle a few semesters or in a few classes, you are going to be okay. Like, I fully believe that you are going to be completely fine, and that other parts of your application can boost you if your GPA is lacking. I want that to be encouraging. I'm not a straight A student in college, okay? I was in high school, I'm not in college. I've gotten some B's, I've gotten a C or 2, okay? And I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. That being said, that's just the biology part of my degree. Moving on to the more reason why you're watching the video, I am pre-PA, which stands for physician's assistant. PA school specifically requires 3 types of hours. You have your shadowing hours, patient care hours, and volunteering hours. Nowadays, PA school is getting extremely competitive, and so most schools require a minimum of 100 shadowing, 500 patient care, and 100 volunteer. I know patient care hours is definitely getting more competitive. A lot of my schools are about 1,500 and up. Shadowing, you're gonna wanna shadow somebody who is a PA. Okay, if you're pre-PA, you need to shadow someone who's PA, because one of the biggest questions that people are gonna ask in a PA school interview is, why'd you choose PA over med school? And you need to have experience with PAs so that it's kind of verifying that you know what a PA does, you know why you wanna be a PA. It just kind of shows you put the work in to shadow a PA because that's what you want to do specifically. If you want to get other varieties in there just to see what else is out there, by all means, but I would definitely recommend gearing towards PAs specifically. It could be in any field, but you're going to want to shadow as many different types of medicine that you can. So far I've done pediatrics, emergency care, urgent care, cardiovascular, ICU, orthopedic surgery, and I'm just in an OBGYN rotation right now. So I'm really trying to see a lot out there, because as a PA you have the career mobility that a lot of people don't have in the medical field. They're going to be looking for, okay, you've seen different fields of PA work and you still want to be a PA. So it just adds a little bit of a competitive edge on your resume. Next is patient care. This is something that you're going to want to be more steady and consistent with. I would say to find a job and keep it, because they're going to want to know that you can work one place for a long time and you're reliable. Keep the job for as long as you can, get as many hours, because this is something that you're going to need to be racking up consistent hours with. It is the hardest hours to get. 500 hours is a lot of hours. Okay, I worked a full semester and I'm not at 500 yet, so it is definitely going to take a chunk of time to get these. Lastly, our volunteering hours, recommended 100. This part you should really shine in somewhere that you are passionate about that has nothing to do with medicine. They see a million applicants who are like straight A, I love medicine, I want to help people, which are all amazing things, but they need to see that you are a person and you have interests outside of medicine too. So I would definitely recommend volunteering in an area that interests you outside of medicine. I grew up riding horses, I did a lot of equestrian when I was younger, all throughout high school, and I love children. And so there's a place in Auburn called Storybook Farms. It's a rehab facility for children that uses dog and equine therapy to help kids who are struggling in different ways in their life. That really stuck out to me because I love horses and I love children, and so that would show that I have other interests other than medicine, which is a plus. Volunteer also can be very diverse. You don't necessarily have to have a million different things or all one thing, but I would recommend that there are things aside from medicine that show a little bit of your personality and what your heart cares about outside of the medical field. There's also other things like extracurriculars and clubs that you should be joining. I would definitely recommend joining probably about 2 minimum clubs freshman year. You don't even need to go to all the meetings or anything. You just want it on your application that you've been a part of a club and you've been involved in other things, whether it's sorority if that's for you, or pre-PA club. See if your university has one. If they don't, start one, that type of thing. They also look for leadership in those areas, so if you connect with that group, I would definitely go ahead and run for a leadership position in one of those areas. Or if that's not for you, there's other ways to show your leadership skills, so don't get discouraged by that at all. But if that is for you, I would 100% look into some sort of leadership position, because that is something that's very important for schools as well. I know I just kind of spit a lot of that out there, a lot of information. It probably sounds really intimidating. I do want to break it down a little bit for you guys because it is a lot. Juggling 3 different things as a full-time student in a medical major is not an easy task. So I would 100% focus on one at a time. It's quite difficult to find a job, okay? I'm a medical assistant right now at an urgent care in Auburn, and it took me probably over 6 months to find a job, and the job that I did find was through a connection of a friend of mine. Otherwise, I would not have gotten a job. I applied every day for about 6 months and I heard back from nobody. So it is a very competitive field and I understand that. So I've only started getting patient care hours as of of January of this year. I worked quite full-time and I was able to juggle that as a student. There was some downtime, I could do homework in there, depends on where you're working. My freshman year, I volunteered my second semester. I did the Storybook Farms. My aunt's a teacher, I helped out in her classroom. I thought about minoring in science education my freshman year, and so I had a lot of volunteering hours there. That looked really good on a resume. And then over the summer, I had a connection through my dad. A friend of his owns a pediatrics urgent care, and so I got connected through them, and I was able to shadow in a pediatric and pediatric urgent care over the whole summer. I got so many hours from that, and that's all I focused on. I did not volunteer or have a job then. I came back fall of sophomore year. Honestly, I convinced myself I was behind. Looking back, I was not. I would ideally have had a job beginning of sophomore year, but that was not in the cards because it was so difficult to find a job. So I kind of just took the year to focus on studying and school, which you should do. If you have free time, please spend it into studying and school. I could have done it much more than I did, but it is so worth it if you invest that time into school because you're not going to have a lot of that in the future. And then over Christmas break of sophomore year, I was able to shadow orthopedic surgery, which again was a contact through my aunt. One of her neighbors is a PA and talked to my mom. I wasn't even there, got the connection. That was great. And so I did that over a break again. And then when I went back to school, I started in January my new job. I got only patient care hours. And then now that I'm in summertime, I don't have a job at home, so I'm currently in my shadowing hours area. I've done cardiovascular ICU and OBGYN so far. So I would definitely try to divide between breaks or semester. I would try to knock out all your volunteering freshman into sophomore year so you can kind of get it out of the way and then focus on drilling patient care hours because those are extremely hard to get. And then shadowing on your breaks or off semesters or gap semesters, anything like that. That is just what works for me. So I thought I would share that with anybody who may be struggling to find some sort of scheduling to fit, but that is 10 out of 10 what I recommend. It has been the best flow for me and my hours have just been adding up. I already have over 125 shadowing hours, 100 volunteer hours, and my patient care is building. And I'm only going into my junior year, if that gives a little bit of a testimony as to scheduling works. To be honest, I'm very aware that a lot of the shadowing experience I have is very, very cool areas of medicine that not a lot of people get to experience, and I made them solely through connections. One of the people I shadowed was like my first babysitter's brother's girlfriend. Like I ran into the dad when I was out with my dad somewhere. Like it was very, very random. Being in college, a lot of adults especially will be like, what are you up to? What are you studying? What's your major? And sometimes you're just kind of like, oh, biology, or oh, you know, this, and you don't want to go to detail. Go into detail. If an adult asks you, what are you doing? What is your major? Say exactly what you're doing because there is a chance they know somebody, there's a friend of a friend, some sort of connection somebody has. Every single shadowing experience I have has been made through a connection of somebody else. So tell as many people as you can that you're a pre-PA looking for shadowing experience, and I guarantee connections will be made. Do not be afraid to make connections and keep them. Keep the numbers. You're gonna need letters of recommendation in the future. Keep the contacts. Ask advice. All the people I've shadowed in the past have been like, please text me any application questions, any random questions throughout the year. If you need help with anything, if you need different connections. I still text a few of them every once in a while and been like, hey, I'm learning about this. Like, have you ever heard of this before? How do you apply this to your area of expertise? And they'll answer, and it's very helpful. Definitely keep the relationships once you make them because that's gonna be very useful for the future. And of course, all of this is for PA school itself, which there are so many options nowadays for PA school. It is so competitive right now, especially in Florida. What I would recommend doing is, if you know where you're gonna wanna end up going for postgrad statewide, I would start researching every PA school in the state and go down the list and see what caters best to you. What area, what programs. I know most of them are 2.5 years, just to kind of put that out there. This is very important. You need to look at the prereqs that PA schools require because some of them will require you take some classes that are not required by your university. I think 2 or 3 PA schools that I'm thinking about applying to require biochemistry, which sucks. Auburn does not require that I take that as a class, but those PA schools require it before I apply. So that would be a class that I would have to add on top of the other courses in my major if I wanted to apply to those schools. Same for GPA. Most minimum is like 3.0, I think. A lot of GRE scores are varying. GRE is kind of like the SAT for college, but it's the version for PA school. There's also a PA CAT, kind of like the MCAT, but catered to PAs. I will be taking the GRE. That's kind of my next task I have to face, is studying for the GRE. It's a pretty big exam. I'm going to spend fall semester studying for that, hoping to take it by December. I will be showing you guys kind of throughout my year. If you see my vlogs, you'll see me studying for the GRE. And those scores are good for 5 years. So you can take it out of high school, and if you score good enough, it will last you until you apply to PA school. That is also something that I wish I would have known, is I probably would have taken it my freshman year if I would have known that sooner. Because by the time I found out, I did not have the time on my plate to be studying for it. And I'm hoping that my fall semester is going to allow me the time to study for it. But of course, do what's best for you. Figure out what semester works best. I would definitely spend an entire semester studying and plan to take the test on the next break. So if you start in August, take it December. If you start in January, take it summer. I've heard that kind of 5-6 month range of studying works best for most people. And yeah, that is kind of my rundown of what I wanted to update you guys on. I have had some people DM me from my videos kind of being like, what are you doing? What are you getting hours for? What's your major? Where are you headed? Asking me a lot of different advice on Auburn itself. If anybody watching this video is going to Auburn too, I would love to hear about it. So comment down below. I'll try to reply to you if I see it, or if you DM me or something like that. I love hearing people comment or swipe up or something. I really hope this video helped you guys, for whoever really needs it, or if you're just one of the people who watch my videos. I love making informational videos like this for you guys, so if there's any other topics about Auburn or life, PA school, anything like that, I would absolutely love to come on here and chat with you guys for a little bit. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog.